Hello, my name is Lorrie. Welcome to my channel. We are quilters. Today is Upskill Monday. We are adding some bling to the things that we make. We are going to use lazy daisy loops. So we are going to do 3 lazy daisies. And then we are going to add some stems. And last but not least, you know my favorite thing is to add a bead or 2 here and there, and maybe a bead in the center. We are going to do some of these as standalones, and some of these as a row. So this is a very versatile lazy daisy stitch. With a cute little trifecta. That is what we are up to today. Let me show you the blocks that we are going to be working on. We have a pretty yellow block, and a couple of the blocks that were painted with Sharpie and rubbing alcohol to get the effect, and 2 of those blocks to work on. So let's get to it. This is easy stitching. I'll show you a couple examples and then I will finish them up for Friday Blabfest. I have chosen the floss for my samples. This one that this is not my favorite flower, but I am going to embellish this, so by the time we are done with it, it will be my favorite. I'm going to use these colors, and I'm going to start in the center. It needs lots more work, more than just today. I'm going to embellish the center of this one also, but not just one. And then this one is getting a single embellishment here, and I'm thinking about another embellishment here, 2 singles. And I'm using colors from here, the lovely pink, and maybe a second pink if there's not enough of the first, with green leaves and green daisy petals. So let's get started, and I will show you the basic stitches. Start with the green, and I prefer 3 strands. That is what I am using today. You can use more, you can use less. It depends on how dainty you'd like it to look. 3 gives it a decent amount of fullness. I think I'll go for right here along the edge, so it's sort of toward the middle. To make the lazy daisy, you come up at the base, you go back down through the same hole, you come out as far away as you want your petal to belong, and then you make a tack stitch. Simple as that. I'm making a second hole close to that first hole. Remember not to pull your stitches too tight. Second lazy daisy. And the third daisy. That is all there is to the lazy daisy stitch. Let me tie this off. Now I need to do some little straight stitches. Since I'm going to do a second motif, I am letting that needle threaded And I'm getting another needle. I think just for fun, we will do these little straight stitches with 6 strands, so you can see how full a stitch it makes when you use all 6 strands. So I start toward the center again. And I go up to where I want the stitch to, the length I want the stitch to be, and I come down. All there is to it. Let me do another one of those. I like the fullness of that straight stitch. There we go. Tight enough. And I'm making that stitch about 1/4 of an inch long. And there we have all the stitches for this. Let's get some beads. I think this will look great with pink beads and maybe a darker bead of some sort in the center, like a red. Let's check it out. Some of these are actually kind of pinkish, like that one. I think that will look great in the center, a bigger bead. Oh, there's bright pink. There's like a shiny silvery pink. I sort of like that bright pink. But it is a very small bead, so I know I will have to use a beading needle for this bead. Let me get some pink thread and we will sew these on. I'm going to start with the larger center bead. Now this bead, I could use any needle, even the ones that I did my stitches with, because it is a large bead with a large hole. But I am using a pink thread, and while I have the beading needle threaded up, I might as well use it. And because it's a large bead and it might get caught on things, I am going to make a knot in the back, but I'm not going to disconnect my thread. I'm going to keep on going, but it will have its own knot. Maybe even before I'm ready for it to have a knot. Who knows? Now let's add those little pink beads around. Sweet and simple. And then it will be finished. As easy as 1, 2, 3. And there we have it, the little trifecta motif right there. Like I said, I think I'll put another one over here so it has 2 on it. And then I will move on to a row of stitches for you. I hope that the beginning of this video didn't sound too windy, because there are fans going everywhere. It is very hot and humid here in Michigan. So I have my needles threaded and I have my bead containers sitting around so I can select more than one color of bead. This one I'm going to do kind of in a row, but out around in a circle, because this needs more color. I am using a pink to pick up the outside pink here. I do really like the way this one turned out. And this block has an additional layer of fabric. So it has 2 layers because I knew that I would be adding beads. So I'm going to put my first Lazy Daisy going toward the center for each of these. Oh, and we have our first glitch. And then I'm going to put the other 2 Lazy Daisies between the black marks. If you haven't watched the episode with the Sharpies and the alcohol, it was lots of fun to embellish with that. And you never know exactly what you're going to end up with. And there are lots of videos other than mine out there on that technique. Lots. Like back in the 80s, people were making silk scarves and embellishing the whole thing with nothing but alcohol and Sharpie. And some of them were beautiful tie-dyed looking things. I'm always going to put the one in toward the middle and then the other 2 between the black line. Let me put this on speed sew so that you don't fall asleep or slip into a coma while I work my way around this flower, which will become much more colorful here in just a moment. Here is the flower with just the pink center. Even just that adds a lot to it. Now I'm going to add the orange. There's no orange in this block except for, well, no, the centers are dark pink. I think orange goes really well with pink sometimes, and on flowers it looks fantastic. So I think I'm going to change where I'm placing these stitches, and I'm only using 3 strands this time because I don't want it to overemphasize what's going on. So since I have this the daisies or the Lazy Daisy around the center, I'm going to do my stitches radiating out from that center. I'm going to go down where I want it to end, each stitch to end, and I'm going to come up in the next one over. So they kind of match up, with the black stitches, the black lines, but not completely, because the black lines are not straight, because flowers are not typically straight. And I'm leaving a big spot in the middle that it has a dark blue spot, but it's going to have a bigger bead, and that spot will help emphasize that. Okay, there are my little stitches. Now I need to go out and do the ones out on the outside edge. And I need to check, maybe I want to double those stitches up so that there's a spot for two different beads. Won't that be fantastic? So let me get it knotted up here and let's see what we can do. I think it would look really good. I don't know. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. No, you know, maybe I think I'll just put one. And it'll just be another place for me to yeah, I think I'll just put one. I was gonna do two, but I think one will be plenty. And if I want to, I could always put two beads there. Because there's no rule saying you have to have one bead per stem. No rule at all. So I'm putting the needle down where I want that stitch to end, and I'm coming up where I want the next stitch to start, so that it makes it quicker work. This is where it is an advantage to not work in a hoop, but you have to make sure you don't pull your stitches too tight, because your work isn't necessarily lying completely flat as you hold it in your hand. So that is the last of the orange stitches. Now it's time to add some beads. Okay, there we have it. All the stitches complete and ready to go. Now it's time to pick some beads. I do know that I would like, oh, look at that. Look at that nice dark. I would like either one of these. Oh, I think that is the one. I would like that one in the middle because I have a container of larger beads too that someone gave me, my friend Lisa. I would also like to add some other of this sort of color around it, like close by. And then, oh, maybe I'll do those ones as a center, like the center of the threes. And I also have some orange beads to pop on the ends of those little things, those little stitches, straight stitches. So let me get some blue thread on my needle. Okay, there is the center bead. And again, I'm going to give this one a little bit of a knot because it's a larger bead and I don't want it someday to get caught on something and rip all the beads off. So the next one I need to put on are the little beads. So this will be just like the center of a flower. It will have lots of little decoration and color, and unless you look really closely, you wouldn't even notice it. Okay, I was saying I put marigolds in my flower pots because generally things don't eat them. In years past, the chipmunks have dug them up and left them to die, but they didn't eat them per se. This year I was lucky and they let my marigolds alone, and I have planted them in odd places, like in the pot of stuff to keep the mosquitoes away that contains mint and sage, and lavender, because those things are all supposed to, they're on the list of top 10 things to keep mosquitoes away from you, and they do seem to work. I did not, for the first time this year, I did not plant a citronella plant because it has a warning on it for pets that it's poisonous. Please do not allow it says on there, on the tag, please do not allow your pet to eat this. Well, Honey puts everything in her mouth. She is a much better walker when she has a stick in her mouth that she picks up on the trail. So I did not plant a citronella plant, and the other plants seem to have, they're doing just as well keeping the mosquitoes away from the sitting area outside as anything else. I still do like to light a citronella candle about half an hour before I go out there. Okay, we are almost done with the little blue beads, and it is turning out so cute. And this one was cute to start with, I thought. So I can imagine how much it will improve the other block. I do like the way that is turning out. It is so cute. There we have it, orange thread. It was in a bin down under my sewing table. When I was rearranging, I happened to come across it. Now, granted, it's an older thread, but it passes the strength test. I cannot pull it and break it. It says boil fast. Now, this cotton says it's a 50 weight, but it feels heavier. 35 cents. My grandma would be proud of me using up what I have. So now, you know what's helpful when you're using beads? If you get them out of the container, you put these blue ones away. I'm done with those and don't feel like cleaning up a mess. Get out the orange, some orange ones. Probably don't need nearly that many, but and this time I'm going to just add them to the end of the straight stitches. So I believe there are 16 of those. More if I feel like they need to be around that center blue. Oh, I accidentally picked up 2. Well, I'm letting it there. I don't feel like removing it, and I'm just going to go with It Was Fate. It is getting very colorful very quickly. Sometimes if there's a loop where one thread was longer than the other, you need to pull up on it and pull it back down through. There we go. Run your fingers along it so it smooths it out. actually, looking at that through the camera, it seems perfect. I'm going to let it just the way it is. So as I pull the last one over here, I'm going to use the same technique on this flower. See if I can make it look beautiful like this one. And I will show you the results from that on Friday. I hope you have enjoyed embellishing with the trifecta of lazy daisy stitches, beads, and straight stitch. See you on Wednesday for Study in Scarlet. Have a great week. Please remember to like and subscribe.